Alright, making a video. I was going to start my reading of my own document here, but I think I'll just do comments instead, since there's a few comments that do need addressing. And the same rude and obnoxious people keep behaving the same rude and obnoxious way. In spite of the fact that you ask them to please not do that, they keep doing it. Which is, no surprise. These people suck. So anyway, alright, so the new edition is this colliding with technicalities, and it basically goes through the velocity argument that kind of gets to the subject of inertia and gets to the subject of time dilation, so now it's in there, even though I was trying to explain just how gravity works and want to really get to the induced part, so I did bold wherever I could the word induction. So yeah, you could just go forever. It really, these are subjects that really will need pamphlets, if not books, because it's there's so much to it, and I haven't gotten to the atom yet. I haven't even gotten to the way the spins all add up to this in the end. That's what it comes down to. So anyways. There's a pretty solid contribution to the document anyway, so colliding with the technicalities. At your leisure and such, so link below. This doesn't look like the right comment page, here we go. Alright, so this Justin guy just will not play along. So I've asked him not to post multiple comments on videos, and he just won't not do that, which is irritating. I mean, they're not responses to somebody else's comments. He's just posting comment after comment and link after link, making arguments that are totally irrelevant because they're a mischaracterization of my arguments. So, I mean, nowhere have I said there's absolutely no reason to believe the theory of relativity, that there's no evidence saying that this might be the right answer. What I'm arguing is that it's a completely inadequate answer. It answers a couple of questions, right, because it creates a model that parallels some elements of the truth, but it's far from a complete model. It's like a Lego of the real thing. You can make a Lego car and you can make it sort of roll and do some things, but it's really not very close to the accurate model. And the whole space-time thing is really just taking advantage of a convergence they already knew existed. Okay, gravity. I mean, this is Newton knew this was a convergence. They called it that long time before Einstein showed up. And all he did was tie time to it, which was really just a cheat to tie velocity to it and acceleration. And so, but there's now, as I'm pointing out in my theory, the connection is made even more obvious. Why there's a connection between your velocity and gravity and more importantly the metabolism of the matter. So obviously the connection between casual velocity and the acceleration caused in gravity is obvious, but the fact that time would be dilated is really just saying that metabolism is slowed down. So again, this is just cryogenics. There's nothing magical here. Time isn't in any way warped. It's things with velocity have a slower metabolism. That's the truth. Alright, so the true model recognizes that connection in a way that is fundamentally different than the Lego version. The Lego version has nothing to scale. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't unify anything, where my theory does. So making arguments that, well, here's a piece of evidence connecting time to velocity. Well, I already know there's a connection. My theory states there's an explicit connection. So that evidence is evidence of my theory just as well as it's evidence of Einstein's theory is the point. So you're not proving Einstein correct. You're just proving that there's a connection between these two things. And I'm just saying there's much better models of engine, wheels, passenger compartment. There's much better ways to model reality. And Einstein's model is fundamentally a cheat anyway, as I've pointed out, because it doesn't explain the source of energy. It just creates a fake dimension to pull it out of, where mine explains the energy component. And it's clearly an important distinction. Einstein doesn't account for enough energy to move whole planets and hurl them into suns. He doesn't account for that energy, and mine does. I think that's a significant difference. So anyway, just a very annoying asshole. So Superior Mind said something, and this asshole said, we do see interference patterns everywhere, but we don't notice them because 99% of the cases, the resolution of the human eye is not sufficient to resolve them. Well, that's not really true. The point is the interference is so subtle because it's a surface phenomenon. So again, you're just not, you're not getting it, okay? That the interference is happening on just these surfaces. So that's why it works with two tiny slits, is because the amount of surface versus open air is tiny, and so therefore any effect is going to be more visible as a proportion of the total amount of light. But you're never going to see it, when you drown it out with a whole bunch of light. I have in fact seen them without any special apparatus, and you can too if you know how to look for them. Well, that's just totally not very helpful. You've seen them with your magic powers. But frankly, yes, you can see them by just putting your fingers together in front of your computer monitor. Have you tried posting some of your ideas? No. I'm done with forums. Yeah, they just delete my posts, just waste my time. So yeah, I'm going to get published, and I'm not going to bother with talking to assholes if I can avoid it. It's a last resort. Maybe I'll do that, but it's not going to be my first resort. As I've stated, I've already been there and done that. People are they're just totally hostile to anything threatening their little magic kingdom. Let's see, the idea of mass as a vector is interesting. How can it be formalized? Well, it can be formalized. It's already formalized. Look, most of the math that's out there is pretty good, okay? 98% of it. And the stuff that's bad is only bad because they need to add a fraction, or they need to add a limiter or something else. But clearly this idea is already physicists sort of get some of this, the idea that maybe light does have mass, but its mass is only in one dimension. Obviously the dimension it's traveling in, right? It doesn't have any left to right, doesn't have any mass behind it, doesn't have any mass up, down. Yeah, it only has mass in the direction it's traveling. And that's the part where it gets a little bit interesting, because then you can think about an orbit, and you can think about the fact that it has numerous directional vectors as it travels through that orbit. It's constantly changing its directional vector. So really it's mass spread out over an entire dimension. And then if you process that orbit, obviously you can spread it out over 3 dimensions. Yes, but it's, it's formalizing it. You mean formalizing it into a mathematical equation is certainly going to depend on the circumstance, whether it's a galaxy, a one-dimensional plane, or whether it's doing something in the other dimensions. Physical models are so anyway, so these are all comments in the same video, so I'm deleting them until you learn how to post all your comments on the same video in one comment. Physical models are made of mathematics. So again, mathematics is one form of model. Mathematics is like the Lego of a car, right? It's like a vector picture. You can have a vector drawing of a car, and it's just a mathematical description of the lines and curves to make what looks like a car as an image. So that's a mathematical model. Mathematical models are a way of saying there's a relationship between the weight of the car and the flatness of the wheels, or the pressure in the tires, or some other kind of bullshit. I guess there are no relationships that way, but anyway. It's just recognizing relationships and then formalizing those relationships into mathematical geometry. And there's nothing, but it's one kind of model. It's not the model. It's not the superior model. If you can draw a real picture of it to scale, then again the model can work, and you can run the model and see the model function, and you can ask yourself all kinds of questions. Well, what happens if I turn it upside down? Well, you can find out by just flipping the model upside down. You get it? Mathematics is great, but mathematics is not the way, the only way, or even the best way to model the world. And Richard Feynman even said that. I'm going to take the clips out of his videos and go through this, just because he did say things like this. It'd be really great to have a real model. And then you don't even have to do math. That's a quote from Feynman, for fuck's sake. I mean, math is not God.